A penny saved, whoop, can't use my bank, is a penny earned to supersize and grow your business. How can this expression be used to grow and build our business, the business we want to grow? This is actually an idiom from the 16th century. It's attributed to Ben Franklin, but he never actually said it. In 1737, as Poor Richard, he wrote about it, but he never actually said it, although he is attributed with saying a penny saved is a penny earned on almost all sources. Now, it's actually George Herbert in his outlandish Proverbs where it was first published. And that was, you know, a culmination, a collection of Proverbs that were shared in this, probably from the 16th century, shared around the same time as Poor Richard wrote it in the Poor Richard's Almanac, which is actually Ben Franklin, right? I guess that's why it's attributed to him saying it, because everybody knew that Poor Richard was in fact Ben Franklin after the fact. So everything Poor Richard said, or Ben Franklin said as Poor Richard, has been attributed to Ben Franklin as well. So what does it mean? What does it mean a penny saved is a penny earned? And is that true today? Now, maybe it was true in the 16th century in Ben Franklin's time, because they didn't have banks in places where people saved and put their money and earned interest and all the interesting mathematical things that we've done with money nowadays. They didn't have, you know, banks, they didn't have computers, they didn't have any of the things that we have available to us now. But it meant that when somebody decides not to spend their money and put it away, save it, put it aside, they are actually preparing themselves for the future. That is very applicable to our businesses, right? Sometimes, and how much of our business energy is spent in the area of finance, you know, cash flow, profits, taxes, accounting, expenses, assets, liabilities, all of it, long-term and short-term goals and financial goals, and how do we achieve each of those? Worth versus value. Value is, of course, the value that we provide to the people that we serve through our products and services. And value is not the same as cost of production, cost of manufacturing, cost of delivery. Those are two very different things. Although in my early years, people often got them confused, and they thought, well, if it costs you $2 to make a package of ravioli, you should sell it for $2. I'm like, hello, obviously you know nothing about business and how it works. So did a lot of training and a lot of education on that in my early years in business. But how do we use this? How do we use knowing that people want to get a good value for their money and they want to save money? How can we use this in our business to grow our business? Well, we can make sure that we're providing incredible value to people. In the offline world, we had different ways of calculating what we charge for products and services. And the online world, it's a whole different ballgame, because the actual cost of delivery is so much less than in the brick and mortar world. So depending on the type of business that you have, it's going to determine how you determine and how you establish your pricing and your structures and things. But online, I have a personal rule of thumb that I want to make sure I'm providing 10 times the amount of value. The value of what I share is worth at least 10 times what I ever ask anyone to give me in return for that. And my other thing on this whole a penny saved is a penny earned topic is never compete solely on price. Unless you can be the absolute positive lowest price, lowest cost provider of a product or service, never compete on price, because there's only one lowest price competitor, and there's no advantage. There's no competitive advantaging to be the second least expensive. People don't go to you because you're the second least expensive. If people are shopping on price, that's a very competitive, tough industry to be in. And we want to always differentiate ourselves and let people know what they're getting from us versus from everybody else that does something that's maybe similar to us. So I would love to know your experience with this. I've noticed that my little bank of change takes much longer to fill since we've entered a pandemic. I used to be filling it and then taking it to the bank all the time and getting little treats for the granddaughter or for just for the fun of it. But without running around and going places and shopping all the time, change isn't accumulating nearly as quickly as it has. And then we could get into the whole topic of interest rates and, you know, what do we do with our excess money and our cash flow and all those topics. But again, way too much for an idiom discussion. So curious, share in the comments below your experience with this particular idiom, a pound saved. I'm thinking of penny wise and pound foolish because that seems so much more applicable these days when we're thinking of government spending and things like that, or even our business spending. Some of the things we're spending money on feels so foolish compared to how we used to allocate our resources in the past. But share in the comments below your experience with this expression, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you use it in your business right now? Take care. Bye. Go save those pennies.